Welcome back to our North End Walk. It's episode 24. Wow, there's so much going on at Preston. We are so excited to talk about it this week. Hughes extends. MADS is on his way. That rumour's died, but was there any truth in it to begin with? We got our December Player of the Month to decide. AI has predicted all Preston's home fixtures. How many more points will we pick up at home? And we're choosing our worst ever Preston North End 11 because January is so rubbish. What else is there to do? So help us pick the worst goalkeeper of all time. Etienne and Harvey are back, and Ash delightfully is back with us as well. Hope you are all well and looking forward, of course, to the Charlton game. That hasn't happened yet at the time of recording, and we are going to look ahead to Luton this weekend. So lots to get through. First of all, Ash, are you feeling better, friend?
Yeah, great. Absolutely great.
Good stuff. What more can you want to talk about Preston North End on a Monday evening? Let us know in the comments below all the transfer rumours that you are hearing. There's lots of nonsense out there, Etienne, isn't it? What's the wildest one you've heard this week?
Well, the MADS one was a bit terrifying because he's been off the boil this season. I don't think he's been at his very best, and Greenwood coming in hasn't helped that. But then somebody goes online and says, "Oh, he's off to Watford." I'm thinking they've got Track for Tasday. They don't need another attacking midfielder. It'd be a very sideways move. Luckily, that's been shut down. It just comes to the point. He's only got 2 assists this season. As much as a lot of people like to say he's one of our most creative and one of our most flair-based players, at the same time, he hasn't really contributed much for me. And if we got an offer of, I don't know, like 2 million, 2.5 million, I'd probably take it right now. So, yeah, but he's staying. It's been shut down. That was a lie, and that just shows how boring this transfer window has been, really.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Twitter did go into meltdown for, I think, 2 hours, Harvey, with this sad faces here. MADS to Watford, here we go. What was your take on it? Was it just some journos just making up a slow news day?
It seemed that way, yeah. I'd just gone shopping and I come back and saw the tweet and I just went into panic in my car for about half an hour. Because MADS is one of my favourite players, and I understand that obviously he's been a bit below par this season, but I do think that, you know, when he does get the chance, he is a player that might not get you a load of assists, might not get you a load of goals, but he is creating stuff that goes forward on the pitch, which is definitely something I like and definitely something I think we lack of, a lot of. But yeah, I think I must have scrolled for it for about an hour until I saw some Watford journalists say there was absolutely nothing in it, so I was able to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief.
Yeah, good. You and the rest of the Preston population, I'd imagine. Ash, one thing we can confirm, though, is that Hughes has extended his stay at Deepdale another year. Not the most exciting news of I'm sure that Preston fans could have wished for, but it's good news, isn't it?
Yeah, when I read it, I nearly fell off my seat. No, honestly, on a real note, I don't think it's the worst. So I've seen some people online really going in on it being such a terrible decision. I don't think it is. I think if he's going to be back up to the new lad, then it makes sense for another year, and at least it's not like a standard Ridsdale 2-3 year deal with an extra year that some random guy gets to decide on. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I just hope that he's back up and it's not a plan to make first team, and maybe we might play 4 at the back. He could play left back because we don't have anyone else. So yeah, could be worse.
Okay. You weren't here last week when obviously we talked about the signing from Plymouth. Are you happy with that? And can you give Ridsdale any credit?
I don't like to give people credit for just doing the job. I don't think he's gone above and beyond there. We've paid for a player that we probably paid his value. I think it looks like a decent signing. So whoever's scouted him, whoever's decided on it, I'm assuming that's got to be the manager because we've seen Ridsdale signings before. They're not that good. Yeah, overall quite happy with it. Yeah, but no credit to Peter for that one.
Okay. We didn't think as much. So we're recording this before the Charlton game. But you do know your opposition now, Etienne. It's a home game against Wycombe. Talk to me if you were playing in that game tomorrow. Does that give you added motivation, or do you just draw a breath and go, "Oh God, we've got to wait another game before we get a big name"?
I think the reality is, unless we go on some unbelievable run in the league, we're not doing anything this season again. But having two League One sides of respect. I mean, Wycombe are flying this season, and Charlton should be doing a bit better, but still have some very good players. But I'd go, if I was on that pitch, this is a chance for us to get into the round of 16 without really facing anybody tough, to go and then get either go on another run, hopefully get a championship side, or draw a big 6 away. And I'd be going, look, this is our chance to actually do something this season, to give the fans something to cheer about, give us something to work for. And who knows, we could do a Coventry of last season, make a semi-final. That might just be me dreaming. But 2 relatively easy sides at home gives us a massive advantage going into the next couple of rounds.
Absolutely. Because if you can draw Leeds or Millwall at home, then in the next round that gets you into the quarterfinals, doesn't it? I know we're looking a bit too far ahead here. Let's get past Charlton first. And of course, you could come up against Matt Bloomfield already this weekend, because Wickham are reporting, or sources around Wickham, they might be on his way to Luton by the time you get there. The weekend, Harvey. I mean, it's just Preston's luck, isn't it, that seem to just play teams just as they appoint new managers. What do you make of Luton this season? Have you been surprised how poor they've been?
Yeah, quite. Because obviously they are usually a team that's up there or thereabouts. Kind of like bounce back from Premier League to Championship. And it is quite surprising to see them so low down. I think they've, especially defensively, I think they've conceded like the second most amount of goals in the league, behind Plymouth. So it is weird. But I definitely think it was time for Rob Edwards' tenure to be over. I think he's done a really good job at the club. But I think it was definitely time for Luton to go and look for somebody new. And I think Matt Bloomfield, especially with how well he's done at Wickham this season, deserves a credit to go and to try his tactics in a league that's a lot higher and a lot more competitive. So it is Preston's luck to come against something like that. But hopefully he's not done enough work by the time Saturday comes.
Yeah. And the irony of it is that when Luton, of course, visited the reverse fixture back in August, it was Heckingbottom's first game in charge. So he does the reversal. Ash, when it was the warm summer beating down your neck in warm sun in August, this was the Preston side that took on Luton. It was Heckingbottom's first 11 pick. How has the team moulded and changed over the 5 months since Luton last played you?
I don't think it's changed that much, to be honest with you. You can see we've been playing with 2 strikers less. I would like to see more of that. Lindsay's had, I think it's 2 spells out suspended, so we've seen quite a bit of Watmore, who has either had a really poor game or he's been probably one of the best players on the pitch. There's kind of no in between with him. But yeah, I just think at the minute, I mean, the past few games haven't been too bad, but it's felt at times like they've perhaps lost the way, or just maybe fatigued, or I don't know, just some of the players don't quite look 100%. I'm hoping we get another signing or 2 this window to try inject a bit more energy into the side more than anything. They just seem to be lacking that. I would actually quite like to see that team again, maybe with Millie instead of Keane. I don't know how that partnership would work with Reece, but something similar to that. Although I'd probably start Gibson instead of Lindsay at this point. I think he's just too slow.
Etienne, can I ask you about Whiteman and recent performances? Obviously, we've spoken, probably there's one player we've spoken about more than any other. Maybe Freddie would make the exception on this particular channel. Is he getting back to the player that we know he can be in recent games?
Yeah, he's slowly climbing out of the rut, and I thought he had a decent game last game, and I saw people online saying, "Oh, it's just the same old Whiteman. We shouldn't be bringing him on." It feels like when some of our players have a rut, as they begin to recover, they're still kind of getting left hung out to dry as a scapegoat. I think he's slowly getting better, and I think the fans should support him, because ultimately, on his day, he can be an unbelievable midfielder. And we want to see that Whiteman and McCann partnership, or Whiteman and the Darson partnership, that will help us be a bit more stable in midfield. So, yeah, I think he's getting better. I don't see why fans feel the need to keep jumping on his back and trying to get him just to keep him down. But I'd like to see him just continue to build that momentum.
Okay, let us know in the comments what you think. We've asked AI Harvey to predict all Preston's home fixtures. This is what they came out with. And first of all, it's calculated. You've got 9 points left 9 home games left to make up. Now AI is predicting 20 points from those games. I mean, when I look at your fixtures, actually, apart from Burnley, this doesn't look half bad for a run-in for Preston. I know you're saying you're not going to do much, but surely, even the Middlesbrough game, they're not doing very well at the moment. I look at Millwall, Swansea, Portsmouth, Stoke, Cardiff, QPR, Plymouth. They're all winnable at Deepdale, aren't they, Harvey?
I mean, it looks it. I mean, I'm not being funny. If you was to tell me that in the space of however many home games that we were going to get 20 points and one loss, I'd snatch your hand off for it. Because as much as people want to criticise the amount of draws, honestly, I couldn't care how we play it. If you get 20 points out of all them fixtures with one loss, which is obviously a really good Burnley side, then it's really, really promising, and it gives the club something to build on. It's a really good run. Obviously, the fixtures don't seem that difficult, maybe bar Middlesbrough, Burnley. But yeah, I'd take any of them fixtures if they're exactly like that any day of the week.
Absolutely. I mean, AI has never watched Preston, of course, but yeah, I mean, even forget the AI bit. Do you look at that list and go, there is no reason why these players shouldn't be looking at the home fixtures in particular and getting lots out of this next 4 months, isn't it?
Yeah, the concern for me with those games is we seem to either raise our level to the level of a good team when we're playing them, or drop it to that of a poor team. I mean, you saw what happened with Plymouth in the away game. We absolutely hammered them first half and then just gave up. So I'm hoping that I think there's a mentality issue with the squad at the minute, and I think if that's been addressed now, most of those games should be winnable. I mean, even if you look at Burnley, I know they've got a great squad, they should probably be winning the league. We were the better side when we played them away by a distance. They offered nothing that day, and I actually really trust in Heckingbottom's tactics. I think maybe his subs need a bit of work sometimes, but maybe he doesn't have the squad to offer. But tactics-wise, he seems to know how to set up against the good teams. So I'm quite confident that we'll have quite a good end to the season.
Yeah, so am I. Fingers crossed for it all. Before we jump forward, though, we've got to jump backwards. We didn't grab your December Player of the Month last week when Etienne and Harvey were here. I forget why, but we had loads to talk about. I think it was FA Cup preview, wasn't it? Why? Let's have a think then. December Player of the Month for you, Ash. Kick this off for us if that's all right. While you're in the hot seat.
It's quite tough. I'm actually really unsure. I mean, I always say McCann, and it's usually him, but I might even go Watmore because he just seems to have really solidified himself recently, and he seems to have been performing above his previous level. So I think on that alone, I'll give it to him.
Okay, decent shout, Etienne.
I kind of want to give it joint. There's two. Again, it's really, really tricky. Nobody's been standout, but I can't pick between Jordan Story or Brad Potts. I think Brad Potts had some standout performances. He'd also had a few, like the Sheffield Wednesday game away was disastrous for him. And Jordan Story kind of came in his best game in the Preston shirt against Leeds. That no debate. And he's just same with Watmore. Really, he's beginning to solidify himself. Probably sort out the inconsistency, but when he was playing this month, he was playing well. So, yeah, it's a joint award for me, though.
Okay. Is it Jordan's Story that's got the alleged court case coming up? Did I read? Is that for allegedly doing something in is it a nightclub? Or I don't know the story, but
I think he's pled guilty. Not guilty. Sorry, that'll get me in trouble, won't it?
He's
pled not guilty.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah. Okay. Allegedly, everything.
Both ways there. So
that's good. Thank you very much, Harvey.
Yeah, mine's Story. I think performances in the last month have deservedly earned him a new contract. I just think he's probably our only centre back with some pace, which I think already gives him a bit of an advantage ahead of the other two. And I just think he's just been exceptionally solid over the last month. Like again said, had probably one of his best games in a Preston shirt. So for me, yes, I'll give it to Story.
Okay, brilliant. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, then this week, it's a rubbish month, January. Everyone's cold, it's miserable, no one's got any money, so we thought we'd mirror that in our end game over the next 4 weeks. We're trying to piece together the worst ever Preston North End side in the Championship era. It's been going 20 years this year, the Championship. So we're going back even time before Harvey was born, I think. Are we? 2004. What year were you born, pal?
2004, yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, 20 years then we're looking back. So Ash, we're going to need your help, I think, a lot with this. Worst ever goalkeeper we're starting off with. We're doing a 4-4-2 formation. Next week, we're going to get 2 strikers in those positions. So you've got 7 days, all of you, to get your head around that one. Worst goalkeeper, though. Etienne, can you? Don't put Woodman. You can't put Freddie in there.
Woodman is nowhere near this conversation somehow. I'm joking. I've got 2. Like, the one that jumped out to me immediately was Michael Crowe, but he never played in the Championship, so I don't think that can count. But he was disastrous in that one game he played. No surprise, nobody's ever heard of him again. The one I've got down is Anders Lindegaard, because obviously I've only watched the Championship since we came up from the play. I was never convinced by him. I used to be a ball boy when in the early seasons, and I'd always take station behind his goal, like on the way in. So when he'd come in the second half, he'd be over there. Yeah, never convinced. I've had a good look at the keepers close up, and he was probably the worst one that I saw. So he's my worst one.
Okay. First-hand experience. Ash?
So Lindegaard was one of mine, but because it's gone, I'm going to go Connor Ripley. Sorry, mate. That was obviously yours, wasn't it? I actually looked a bit further back.
From me.
Yeah, well, I actually looked a bit further back and looked at Jamie Jones, but I think that was 2012, so it's just over the 20 years.
It wasn't he in League One? I thought
may well have been, but he was used.
2012 fits in the timeline, mate.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if we were Championship then.
I don't believe that. That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Connor Ripley. I don't know how he ever got a contract. It's confusing because he didn't look fit for a start. And I know keepers can have a bit of timber on him. It's not a problem, but he looked if he dived, he might shake the goal out of the earth. So I'm not quite sure what he was doing. And the only other thing I quite like the guy, so I didn't want to call him out for this, but I watched Di Cornell at Salford in pre-season. I've never been so scared watching a goalkeeper in my life. He was like running up the pitch 40 yards out for no reason. I don't know what was going on, but he's a nice bloke, so I didn't really want to call him for that.
Okay. Lots to unpick there. Harvey?
Well, yeah, I've had both of mine robbed from me. So
you can go first next week. We'll let you go first.
Yeah, cheers. Right, it's a bit more difficult. I wouldn't say it's a keeper that was probably one of the worst, but I will say it's a keeper that had won a lot of howlers and won, for me, few too many mistakes. It's Chris Maxwell. I think overall he was a decent keeper, but like some of the things he'd do, it was like the game against, I think it was Sheffield Wednesday, where Paul Gallagher had to go in net because he'd just come flying out to the throwing line to tackle somebody and got a red card. I just think he was just one of the most like silly, clumsy players I've ever watched, and I think even more now at other clubs, he doesn't look like he's doing too well at Huddersfield and Blackpool. So that's Chris Maxwell's going to have to be the one for me.
Okay. Well, we've got 3 there, haven't we? 3 solid goalkeepers and a backup as well. Right. Thank you very much for that. Of course, if you can beat all of that, drop a comment below. What's the worst goalkeeper you've ever seen in the Championship era for Preston North? And next week we're playing 4-4-2, so we want 2 strikers. We're the worst 2 strikers we've ever seen play for Preston North End, and we'll let Harvey definitely go first. Thank you very much, you 3. Enjoy the game against Charlton this week, and enjoy your trip to Luton for those of you that are making it down, and then we'll see you in 7 days' time to review both of those. Enjoy the games. Thank you for joining us. Drop us a subscribe. We want to get to 100 subscribers before we do on the Blackburn podcast, so help us out. Press that button now. Cheers. See you next week.